persecution and endurance. The Jerusalem assembly walked the covenant path beneath the shadow of danger from the first days. For Yeshua had told them that the world would rise against them as it rose against him. They did not shrink back, for they remembered his words. A servant is not greater than his master. The city that heard their songs also listened to the threats spoken against them. The same courts where they prayed were the ones that accused them. The same streets where they healed were the streets where they were seized. Yet in all this their steps did not falter. Their endurance became a bright fire in a city of shifting shadows. When the rulers dragged the apostles before the council and charged them to be silent, the men of the way stood with calm hearts. They answered that they must obey Yahweh rather than men. Their voices did not tremble, for the Ruach HaKodesh filled them with courage stronger than iron. The rulers beat them with rods, thinking to break their resolve. But the apostles left rejoicing that they were counted worthy to suffer shame for the name. Their backs bore stripes, but their faces bore joy. Persecution did not silence the teaching, it spread it. When the rulers threatened death, the assembly prayed for boldness, not escape. They lifted their voices as one household, and Yahweh shook the place where they stood. Strength filled them like wine fills a cup. They spoke the word of Yeshua with greater fire than before. When Stephen stood before the council, his face shone like a messenger of heaven. His words pierced the hearts of his accusers. They gnashed their teeth and rushed upon him like wild beasts. Stones flew, dust rose, yet Stephen's eyes lifted upward, for he saw Yeshua standing at the right hand of Yahweh. With breath failing, he cried out for mercy upon his killers. His spirit returned to Yahweh as gently as a lamb laid upon an altar. His death became a seed in the earth, watered by tears yet destined to bear fruit across the nations. A fierce storm followed. Houses were entered. Believers were dragged from their beds. Families fled the city. But those who fled carried the way with them. They lit new lamps in Samaria, in Judea, in Phoenicia, in Cyprus, and far beyond. Persecution scattered the assembly like grain thrown upon the wind, and everywhere the grain fell, new life sprouted. Yahweh turned the enemy's blow into multiplication. The way moved because the believers carried it in their bones, and yet persecution remained. James, one of the sons of Zebedee, fell by the sword. Peter was imprisoned between soldiers. Many were beaten. Some lost their livelihood. Some lost their homes. Some lost kin. And yet the assembly did not withdraw into fear. They prayed. They fasted. They encouraged one another. They shared resources. They visited the imprisoned. They honored those who suffered. They remembered the words of Yeshua that those who endure to the end shall be saved. The Ruach HaKodesh strengthened their steps. When fear pressed in, he breathed courage. When sorrow weighed heavily, he poured comfort. When threats surrounded them, he stirred songs in the night. When chains held them, he filled their hearts with praise. When prison doors shut, he sent messengers of heaven to open them. The assembly learned that persecution could bind hands and feet, but it could not bind the name of Yeshua. The hope of the resurrection burned within them like a lamp in darkness. They knew that the one who rose would raise them also. Death lost its sting. Threats lost their teeth. The promise of Yeshua's return kept their eyes fixed on the horizon, not on the shadows at their feet. They endured because they knew that the grave is but a gate, and Yahweh holds the key. The unity of the assembly grew stronger under pressure. Brothers clasped hands, sisters embraced, households opened their doors wider, meals were shared with greater joy. The poor were cared for with more profound devotion. Widows were protected with fierce love. The suffering of one became the burden of all. Their unity baffled those who hated them and drew those who hungered for truth. Persecution revealed the purity of the assembly. Those who walked with double hearts turned aside. Those who remained carried the fire of loyalty. The way shone brightest when the night was darkest. Even their enemies could not deny the strength of their endurance. Thus the Jerusalem assembly walked through fire with steady feet. Their path was marked with blood and tears, yet also with songs and miracles. The covenant they carried did not break under pressure. It hardened like iron shaped in a furnace. Their endurance became a witness, louder than any sermon, clearer than any argument, testifying that Yeshua lives, that Yahweh is faithful, and that the kingdom draws near.